besties. Thanks for stopping by my Clubhouse. This is episode 3 of the Clubhouse hosted by Empire State of Baseball's New York Yankees. Today is Tuesday, September the 9th, and I'm so excited to be back. I missed you all last week, and I hope you missed me too. Let's talk some New York Yankees baseball and some pop culture references. Before we get started and I introduce this week's co-host, I just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Jacob Petruzzi, first one here as always, even though I really feel like he's cheating. Don't know how he gets here so early, but thank you, Jacob, for all the support always. With that being said, chat, Clubhouse confessional this week. So The Amazing Race, very fun show. If you were to compete on The Amazing Race, which New York Yankee would you want as your teammate? Past or present, doesn't have to be somebody on this current lineup, but just would love to know your insight. Bonus points if you could tell me what country you would like to travel to with that Yankee player. Itinerary for the night, Empire Extra. As always, we're going to do hot topics and views, get the crowd going, make it fun, make it lighthearted, because remember, this is for everybody. This show is not for the serious stat people. This is just to have fun while talking baseball. Second segment of the night, we are going to introduce the BRONXelorette. So 3 very special Yankees players are getting roses tonight, and 3 not so lucky Yankees players are getting voted out. Very unfortunate to them. I'm sure you can guess who's getting voted out just based on how the season has gone. Finally, I am going to have some fun, give some rapid fire questions to my co-host, and then we'll tease next week's episode. So quick shout out to a few more guests in the chat. Thank you so much to Hector for stopping by, and Jordan, and my favorite co-host of all time, Chris. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope our bet will hit tonight from Empire State of Betting. We need the Yankees money line, Trent Grisham home run, and a Gleyber Torres home run, because Gleyber has come home to the Bronx. I don't care if you don't like him. That is still my favorite player. My co-host tonight, some of you may know her, some of you may not. She is actually my co-host on Sundays over on the Upper Deck on Pinstripe Chronicles. We are a female-only led podcast where we talk all things New York Yankees on Sunday. Lynn, she's going to join us tonight, and I'm so excited to have her here because she has become one of my best friends. Shout out to Twitter for making that happen. Hey, Lynn.
Hey, CIARRA. So good to be here. Let's go.
I'm so happy to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and kind of what you do as far as being a content creator, and also just about being a Yankee fan?
Oh, I came into this by accident. And shout out to Uncle Tats, from Pinstripe Chronicles. We started off as back pre-pandemic on Zoom in the most, and you know what? I'm going to tell everybody it's on our channel. Don't look. It was very rough and ready, but and then just got in the flow. And CIARRA, I gotta say, since I've been doing this, I've been blessed with many co-hosts, but you and I were in the groove.
Yes.
I was pretty much, it's in my DNA. Yankee fan since the early 70s. That should give you a clue of how aged I am. But I've been through all the eras, so including this, whatever this is.
Well, I got to say, I love being there with you on Sundays, because coming into something so new, because I also fell into this, you've made me feel so comfortable being on screen that it was easier to learn how to talk to the camera and interact with the chat and just be myself versus just like being a robot, like speaking, and just like reading off of a prompt. But I love that you're here. Guys, make sure you follow Lynn over on Twitter. She is Pinstripe Girl. She is tagged in my most recent post. She's an amazing follow and a great friend. But we are going to jump into the Empire Extra. Very, very excited to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. Aaron Judge gave us a great topic to start the show off with. He wasn't supposed to be in today's Empire Extra, but Lynn, I actually got your reaction live as it was happening. Aaron Judge is now 5th on the Yankees all-time home run list. What are your thoughts on that?
I just, as much as I love Yogi Berra, and Yogi Berra has been so much in the press lately. And so, sorry, he just got knocked off of Mount Rushmore because now Judge is up there with Ruth, Gehrig, and DiMaggio, and he's not far off from DiMaggio. So very exciting. I'm just so glad I got to see it as it happened. So yeah, just amazing. And to be this hot after the longer IL than any of us expected. I mean, Hall of Famer, first ballot, not, and I think unanimous vote, no doubt about it.
100%. And honestly, it's nice to see somebody who's not in black and white, kind of enter that Mount Rushmore chat, because we grew up learning about Gehrig and Ruth, and I grew up learning about DiMaggio and all these other guys who we've never seen them play because they existed so far back in the day. Yep. So it's nice to actually see Aaron Judge here in the now. It looks like the Yankees are up 2-0. Cody Bellinger hit a bomb.
Oh man.
We just talked about Cody on Sunday. He's been phenomenal. Nothing short of amazing, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely. And Stanton's up right after him. I don't even want to know gonna love looking at what the velo and the feet hit was. But yeah.
Well, I saw a few more people checked into the chat, so I want to say a quick shout out to Hitman. Quick shout out to Slick, who thinks that this chat is all about him. He said the show can start now. I don't know, Slick. I might need to add you to Cucks on the Pond because you're very late today. But let's talk about Anthony Volpe and Jose Caballero and the entire shortstop situation. So, have you ever watched the show The Amazing Race?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So in The Amazing Race, there's a lot of things that the duo have to do right in order to win. Right. There's pit stops. They have to spend their money correctly. They have to, manage their time correctly. All these other things. Now, when it comes to the New York Yankees, they could either mismanage this whole situation and, have the Yankees going home early, running through the airport behind Boston and Toronto, or they can make the correct decision, in my opinion, and shake it up. What are your thoughts on removing Volpe from the starting shortstop position and kind of pushing Jose Caballero into that position going into the playoff push?
How soon can we make it happen?
If it was up to me, it would happen right now.
It's just it's beyond my comprehension why this is not even a thought in someone's head in that organization. Although, I'm sure it is, but what is it about this golden child of theirs that is anything but? And why are we suffering with him in these high leverage situations? And right now, don't we want to punch the ticket for reals and not get in from the wild card? Are we even serious? No. Let's give Caballero more reps. He's hot when he's in. Can you imagine what he'll be? I remember seeing him against us 2 seconds before we got him. And I'm like, get this guy out. Like, he's a menace. Who is he? So let's have more of that. Let's put Volpe on the bench, and may the bench be like in Arizona.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that you call him a menace because that's exactly what Will Warren calls him as well. And I agree. Like, he is just, if I was a pitcher, that guy would stress me out just seeing him on the bases. But when you look at their stats, career-wise, like batting average, stuff like that, they're not too far off. But this season, Anthony Volpe is getting close to having a 2020 season. And by that, I mean 20 home runs and 20 errors. So he has 19 errors right now, and he has 18 home runs. The crazy thing is, my beloved second baseman, Gleyber Torres, who is making his homecoming debut right now, was murdered for leading in errors last season. Volpe looks worse, in my opinion. He just looks lost. Caballero would be just refreshing to have a new glove in the field because he looks much better and he can play the outfield if needed. But not only that, he is a hothead. And I know other people are upset about this, but that is the reason I love him so much. He has this fire that this team absolutely needs. And I want to see more of it, not just from him, but from other people. So
Absolutely. Can you imagine Caballero and Cruz in a bar together and something goes wrong?
Cruz with his big shaky cheeks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to be fair to Caballero, being that utility guy, I'm not even sure that he's hadn't had enough reps before joining us. And, you know, I'm not taking that 227-ish batting average for anything. You know, I'm basing it on what we're seeing so far. And it's way above that. So
that brings us back to the Yankees, you know, managing their budget correctly, right? And when I say budget, I mean their bullpen and their bench. They traded for Ahmed Rosario, who we only see running back and forth. We see his little bald head on the screen. That's all we see of him. They traded for Caballero, who we don't see enough of. They traded for this guy named Austin Slater, who I'm pretty sure doesn't exist. He got injured right away. We haven't seen him since he came off the IL. But yeah, Rosario is a glorified cheerleader. He took over Marcus Stroman's role. I'm convinced that's why they traded for him at this point. But hey, chat, everybody watching from Instagram, from Twitter, from YouTube, make sure that you go over and follow Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. We have over 3,000 we have over 7,000 followers on Instagram. I try to take some away from us. I don't know what I'm doing. Corey does a great job with the reels and the post. My pink glittery post is on there from today. So take a look at that and just follow along to all the news and updates. It's going to be Yankees and Mets, but you guys can deal with that, right? Last thing of the Empire Extra. So we're talking a lot about budget. So when the contestants in The Amazing Race are racing through Italy or wherever they're at, they have to make sure they budget enough money for their trains, their meals, all of that fun stuff, right? Because they don't want to get stranded in Rome and not be able to get to the finish line. Now, when the Yankees are managing the bullpen, do they have what it takes going into we're in September, going into October to not get stranded? Or are Boston and Toronto just gonna run right past us? Because right now Toronto's up on us 2 games. That's not a lot, but Boston is on our tails. They're only behind by a game.
For such a savvy businessman, Cashman really does not know how to budget. Because let's face it, it's Cashman calling the shots, not Boone, at the end of the day. And it's just ridiculous what they still continue to do with Devin Williams. And there are people sitting in that bullpen that haven't been used in games. And we're using the same piece of, what I'm saying. So, no, there is some real potential in that pen still. And yes, they've been plagued with injuries. Go figure. Name me a position where that hasn't happened this season. But there's a lot of good guys that could be in high leverage situations. And Cruz, to me, is one of the great examples of that now that he's back. He should be in before Williams at any time. And that's just one example. They throw the budget up on the screen, and I'm like, well, this is on paper, but it's not what we're getting and seeing. So make it make sense. I can't.
Yeah, and to wrap up the bullpen budget as a whole, before we head off to the next pit stop of this race, yesterday was an off day. Everyone's fresh. Sunday, we only saw Devin Williams and David Bednar, so there really isn't much labor going on. But just some food for thought for everybody who's listening. Tim Hill has not pitched since August 31st. There is zero news on if there's an injury, if he was kidnapped, if he was sent to Guantanamo Bay because he did something Cashman didn't like. So this is me sending out an SOS. Anybody know where Tim Hill is? If you find him, please return him to the New York Yankees because we miss him. Just a quick shout out to a few more people in the chat that checked in. Shout out to Eddie from Mr. Name That Yank, and shout out to Jack Esposito for checking in. Thank you so much for being here. But let's have some fun. Let's hand out some roses. So tonight in the Bronx, we are playing the BRONXelorette. So 3 lucky baseball players are going to leave here with a rose. 3 very unlucky New York Yankees are going to be voted out, and they have to turn in their pinstripes. Never want to see them again. Welcome to the BRONXelorette with your host, me, CIARRA. Let's jump into it. So Lynn has no idea who's getting a rose and who doesn't. So our first contestant who is getting a rose is Mr. Reliable. Mr. Reliable is Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger has consistently had over an 800 OPS this season. The only only outfielder in MLB with an 825 OPS, 11 DRSs. That picture is frying me right now because he looks absolutely fried. Oh my God.
When doesn't he?
Oh, Cody looks like he needs some Taco Bell. Listen, last month alone, 267 average, 791 OPS, 6 home runs, 20 RBI, 1,000 fielding percentage. Lynn, do you agree that Cody Bellinger should be our first Yankee player to get a rose tonight?
Not only do I agree, CIARRA, but if this was the season where there were 2 bachelorettes, you and I would be throwing fists over him, okay? Yes, 100%.
Close your ears, Chase Carter. We just love his baseball. That's it. We're not trying to fight you for your man.
It's what we do.
Listen, there are some fans out there, believe it or not, that do not think that Cody Bellinger is worth a contract next season. What? And I have some questions for those fans. Cody Bellinger has, in my opinion, is having an MVP season. I know he's playing behind Aaron Judge, so it's hard for anyone to notice that, but he fields amazingly and at the outfield. He plays first base. He obviously gets on base. He's very reliable. And I would like to remind everybody, Sunday's game, we do not win without Cody Bellinger's go-ahead double to put the Yankees up 4-3. So, Cody Bellinger, you get the first rose of the night. Enjoy it. Hopefully you're still here next time around. Our second player getting a rose tonight, he is a very close teammate of Cody Bellinger. He's another outfielder. He is, I'm going to call him Mr. Clutch, Mr. Dark Horse, because nobody expected this player to have this type of season. He has a career high 30 home runs. He's a Gold Glove center fielder. He was a former first round draft pick who is now, for the first time, I feel like getting a full chance to blossom and show who he really is. And unfortunately, last season, he sat on the bench while we watched Alex Verdog poop stink up the place. Trent Grisham is getting the second rose of the night. Last month, he had a 243 average. He had 20 walks is insane. Everybody likes to talk about Juan Soto and his generational eye. What about Trent Grisham? He knows when to get on base. Also, 10 home runs last month, 17 RBI. So he's leading off, right? Imagine if we actually had people at the bottom of the lineup who could get on base. His RBI would double. But because the bottom of this lineup cannot do that for any reason, unfortunately, his RBI are a little low right now. But at 905 OPS, would you give Trent a rose, Lynn, or would you have given it to somebody else?
No, so far it's tracking for me. Listen, he is the biggest surprise of the season, and he's bringing. It's like Christmas all like season long. Merry Christmas, everybody, because he is just making everything feel better. And we've been through some really rough, bad times, but he's been consistent. He's another one just like Cody. Just when do I ever call him Cody? Belly. That he's just been consistent. Even if he's not clutch, he's been consistent. And that Gold Glove is platinum. As far as I'm concerned, expect another one this year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. How the Grish stole Christmas. I love it. Listen, I think that the Yankees should sign both Grisham and Belly next season. I think Belly should be the priority just because of how versatile he is. But Grisham should be right behind him. Look, he's only making $5 million right now. He'll probably ask for a little more, obviously, because he's having the best season of his career. But there is absolutely no reason the Yankees can't extend an offer to Grisham and to Belly. In my opinion, and I'm probably going to get some heat for this. Trade Jason Dominguez at this point. You have an outfield. You have Belly. You have Judge. You have Grisham. And you have Spencer Jones knocking on the door as your fourth outfielder. So you got to make the decision at this point, Dominguez or Jones. And at this point, I think Dominguez would be the better trade piece. So we have one final rose to give out. And I know everybody in the chat is expecting it to be a certain somebody, a certain number 27, but I'm going to disappoint every single one of you. I am not that predictable. This is a rookie who, now, from the outside looking in, he does need some work, right? He's a little rough around the edges, but if the Yankees put in the work with him in the offseason to figure out what position they're actually playing him in, first base or catcher, Mr. Benjamin Rice will be a phenomenal New York Yankee moving forward. He fills in wonderfully for Stanton when, Stanton starts off the season injured, unfortunately. Hopefully that doesn't happen next year, but if it does, we know Ben Rice can step in and do the job. He plays first base. He's my favorite catcher, if we're being honest, because JC Escarra is not even here anymore, and we all know how I feel about Austin Wells. But Ben Rice last month posted a 283 average, 362 on base percentage, 12 walks, 6 home runs, 16 RBI, and a 905 OPS. Okay. And not to mention, he is the best Dominican number 22 in New York baseball. So, Lynn, what are your thoughts on Ben Rice as a whole this season? Is he a little too rough around the edges for you, or is he starting to fine tune and become that player that could really help this team in the postseason?
He is a self-developing rookie. Let's remember that this kid is, a rookie, and let's look at what has happened since he's been up here. So, that last name, it's almost like it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that Rice is steamed at the plate and it's fried when he's whether he's behind home plate or on first base. He's frying those players out of the equation. So I find him to be not so rough around the edges. If you want to, let's norm what rough around the edges means. You're going to compare Volpe and Rice. He's smooth as glass, Rice.
Okay.
Yep. I seldom see a WTF moment on any side of the ball with Rice. He has my full confidence, whether he's behind the plate or at first base. So you and I are totally aligned. I'm liking the roses you're tossing out.
Well, let me ask you 2 questions regarding Ben Rice before we move on. So first and foremost, next season, do you see him as a first baseman? Because let's face it, Goldschmidt is a stopgap. We don't know what the Yankees are planning at first base. People are probably planning on Murakami being here, or the Yankees magically signing Kyle Tucker and flipping Cody Bellinger. But I don't think those are realistic options, right? Nope. Do you see Rice at first, or do you see the matchup of fried Rice, Fried pitching to Rice, and Rice being our catcher?
I'm gonna go with first base. The one thing that I would like Rice to develop more, and I think it has to do with not being totally behind the plate, is he needs to pop faster, for one thing. So rough around the edges more applies at the catcher side of things than first base. I would put him at first. That is not saying that I'm endorsing Austin Wells as the main catcher. And JC Escarra, we don't have enough exposure to. So they'll have to acquire or somebody else. If we're not going to go get Kyle Tucker, which, let's face it, that money is tightly slammed shut on that wallet.
I am with you. Ben Rice at first base, just give him some work in the offseason. Send him wherever you got to send him to get that done. And then sign Adley Rutschman to be our catcher, please, because Austin Wells isn't doing it. Adley Rutschman is a free agent going into next season, and maybe a change of scenery is exactly what he needs. So that's where I'm at with that. Ben Rice, just so you know, though, if you're watching or if you're listening in the clubhouse, if you want to keep your rose, you need to improve your Pop-Tart time as a catcher. So congratulations to our 3 Yankees going home with a rose today. For those of you who missed it, we have Cody Bellinger, Trent Grisham, Ben Rice. 10 out of 10, no notes. Unfortunately, it is now time for the race to end for 3 of our contestants. This first one, I feel like anybody who has been watching New York Yankee baseball would also vote out. We mentioned it earlier today. He is on his way to a 2020 season. Currently has 19 errors and 18 home runs. Leads the league in errors. Is one of the worst shortstops I've ever seen in my entire life. He is struggling offensively. So it's not like he's just struggling defensively and then he's making up for it, by getting on base like some Yankees have done in the past. He is just struggling all around. 191 batting average last month, 18 for 94. I know he got some good hits in Chicago, but let's face it, guys, that's a AAA affiliate that you're playing there in Chicago. He struck out 26 times. We watched him strike out today. Anthony Volpe is going to be the first guy to get voted out. So, Lynn, anything to say? Do you think Volpe should get a second chance? Do you feel bad for him? Should he have gotten a rose? I mean, he had a really nice date last night.
Not only should he not get a rose, this is a very New York City borough term, but we should throw him in the pinchy bushes.
I have no idea what that means.
No, no roses. Throw him in your neighbor's bushes with and let him get prickly. If you're not a Bronx or a Brooklyn person, you won't get that reference. But let me just say this. He really just needs to move on. He is not producing. He's broken, and nobody's helping him fix it from what I can see. And so that lightning in the bottle we saw when we first got him, not coming back. You can't put that back in the bottle. He's got to go.
So that's where I don't understand. I don't think I ever saw lightning in the bottle with Volpe. I know he was the prospect that was really like shoved in our faces. He was going to be like the next big thing. Listen, they did Volpe and the fans a disservice by comparing this kid to Derek Jeter. It wasn't fair to him and it wasn't fair to us. We had our beloved captain. I mean, my entire childhood, Derek Jeter was the captain and the shortstop. I don't remember him ever stinking up the place. And if he did, he was always accountable to the media. He was always very good with the media. And I think that's another thing that Volpe is lacking. That's where he shows his youth. But honestly, I'm ready for the New York Yankees to move on from Anthony Volpe, whether that means Caballero being the starting shortstop next season or George Lombard making the jump from AA to the big leagues, which I doubt will happen. But he is our number 1 prospect at this point, outside of Spencer Jones. Who knows? But Volpe's got to go.
Yeah. I mean, is he aware that the Mendoza line is not something you want to achieve? And what's his fascination with the Mendoza line?
As we're talking about him, Volpe just bunted for an out in a no-out situation. Like, what was the point? He's lost. And nobody's coaching him. Nobody's helping him. So
he's going to try anything. He's throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping something's going to stick. It's really sad to watch. They need to just put him on the bench. But sayonara, Volpe. Time to move on to our next loser going home. See ya. All right. Our next loser who has, the race is ending today. They're leaving the BRONXelorette. I don't fully blame this guy, but he just hasn't been the answer. The New York Yankees left a hole at third base coming into this season. There were plenty of options out there, Alex Bregman being one of them. Alex Bregman, who is a New York Yankee killer, who was in Houston and now is in Boston, killed us with both teams. But the Yankees decided to leave the hole. They rolled out Oswaldo Cabrera, which I don't dislike Waldo. I know Lynn loves Waldo, so I'm not going to speak negatively about him. He broke his ankle. We had Jazz over there. It's not his natural position. He's feeling sore in his shoulder. We have Peraza, who can't hit major league pitching. It was just like a rotation. So they go out. There's a couple options at the trade deadline. They bring Ryan McMahon,
who can hit at Coors Field, can't hit away from Coors Field. He's supposed to be the Gold Glove savior at third base, but let's be real, like, it hasn't been spectacular in my opinion. Like, yeah, he's made some good plays, but nothing that says, wow. Last month he had a 167 batting average, went 13 for 78, 562 OPS. He struck out 29 times. Listen, as soon as he said that he grew up with Aaron Judge's wife, I was like, oh, that's why he's here. Never beating the allegations. I love Judge, but there are just some things that bother me throughout his captaincy, and that's one of them, that his friends are always here. This guy does not belong in pinstripes. I'm sorry. I just don't see it, and I will never forgive the Yankees for ignoring third base. So, unfortunately for Ryan McMahon, he has to leave tonight. With that being said, Lynn, I know you're a big Waldo fan. Would you prefer to see Waldo, or are you enjoying the Ryan McMahon experience here at Yankee Stadium?
Can't I have both? I did like Waldo at first, and I'll admit that I'm a bit subjective, but I always felt that if he was just given a position, you would see more out of him than as the utility guy. And we did. And unfortunately, we know what happened, and we lost him for the season. Who knows what he would have done? And I might have been grateful for McMahon. Certainly was not happy with the DJ LeMahieu situation. So that brings a different tenor to things, because McMahon over LeMahieu all day long. And, this is where you and I disagree a bit, CIARRA. I actually think he's been pretty smooth at third base. His arm is a bullet. He throws those, he's on target 99% of the time across the diamond. So, that alone is something that we've been hungering for, and we have it now. And, I'm just going to go by, hey, 3 for 4 last Friday. So, maybe we'll see a little bit more of that, and maybe we won't. But there's got to be somebody else. If we got, and I know you got to, give someone away. There's got to be a better choice. I think he's going to be critical the closer we get to the postseason.
Interesting. I think it's interesting that we're disagreeing on this, but that makes it better, right? If we agreed 100% on everything, it wouldn't be fun, right? We would just be parrots. I totally understand your points. Hopefully Ryan can change my mind moving forward, and maybe next season on the BRONXelorette, he can survive to the end. Before we go on to the last person being voted out today, I just wanted to shout out Swift, who is in the chat. He recently won a David Cohn signed baseball from Empire State of Baseball. We did a 500 follower giveaway on the main page. So shout out to Swift. He did receive the ball, so he's very excited about that. Love that for him. He's talking about milk, so I don't know what's going on there. But moving on to our last person being voted out. Listen, everybody in the world is going to agree on this one. And if they don't, they're not watching the same team as me. This guy hates being in New York. You can't tell me he doesn't. You could see it all over his face every time he comes out to the mound. From the day he was traded here, he's never looked like he wanted to be here. We changed the beard policy for him, which, let me just say, I love that the beard policy is gone. Stanton with facial hair, I know all the girlies can agree that was the best choice. But Devin Williams, do not want to see him high leverage, low leverage, medium leverage, any leverage. I don't want him in New York. They better not bring him back next season. I will riot outside of Yankee Stadium if Devin Williams gets re-signed in the offseason, because he's not worth the contract that he's going to be looking for. Last month, he pitched 11 innings, felt like way more because I felt like he was holding us hostage every time he was out there. 4.91 ERA, 6 earned runs, 2 blown saves. And throughout the whole season, if you look at it as a whole, he is responsible for 9 Yankee losses. 9 losses as a whole doesn't seem bad, but when one person is responsible for that on a 26-man roster, that's pretty bad in my opinion. Lynn, if Devin Williams was, hanging off the side of a cliff right now, would you save him?
No, I think I would take that opportunity to push his tush right over the edge. He gets a big Michael K. Cia from me. And let's talk about what we were kind of alluding to earlier. Just he and Bednar on Sunday, right? He almost lost the game for us when he came in, if anyone remembers.
I remember.
I still have PTSD from Clay Holmes. I don't need that from this second coming that we were promised. And no, just goodbye. Don't let the door hit you. Actually, let the door hit you on your way out.
You heard it here, folks. Let the door hit Devin on the way out. Name That Media mentioned that Glaber is misplaying balls in Yankee Stadium. He's never beating the allegations. First of all, go away. We didn't need to see that because I'm giving an honorary rose to my favorite Yankee player of all time outside of Derek Jeter, Glaber Torres. He is getting an honorary rose from me because he should be my second baseman. No offense, Jazz. But this was a great episode of the BRONXelorette. We got rid of 3 really bad players. We gave roses to 3 really great players, I guess is the best way to put it. But before we move on to the final segment of the day, make sure you guys all go over to Twitter, follow Empire State of Baseball. That's our main account. Make sure you follow the ESB NYY account as well. And remember, every day, Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we go live for a Bronx take. Monday is hosted by Rich. Tuesday is hosted by Chris, which was today. He did a Bronx State or Empire State of Betting. Bronx State of Betting. I was totally making stuff up as I go. Empire State of Betting, where we have a fun little betting segment. Boogie hosts Wednesday. And Thursday is with me again because you guys love me so much. You get me twice a week. Friday is a co-hosted Yankees Mets for Empire State of Baseball extra innings, but that one's at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you follow along on Twitter. And then this is our TV guide. So Monday, you have the guys live, 8 p.m. You have Rich, you have Tom, you have Joe, and you have Corey for Empire State of Baseball. Tuesday, you get to come back here with me to the Clubhouse. Wednesday, if you feel like supporting the Mets, which it's Keith, so you should, tune into Uncomfortable Conversations, again, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then stop by all of these spaces, Yankees, Mets, all of them. We really do have a great group of people over here at Empire State of Baseball. So show some support, show some love. But let's move on to our final segment before we wrap this up and we can finish watching the Yankees stress us out. So the final segment, for those of you who were here for our first 2 episodes, we called it The Bronx is Burning. We are revamping it. So it is now called Bringing the Heat. Same idea. I'm going to just put Lynn on the hot spot, ask her some fun, rapid-fire, silly questions, and she's going to answer just off the top of her head, no thinking, and it's going to go great.
Okay.
We'll start with a Clubhouse confessional question. So if you were on The Amazing Race, what New York Yankee player would you want to be your teammate?
Garrett Cole.
Ooh, why Garrett Cole?
Garrett Cole, because I think that he is a thinker, and that means to me that our budget will always be in good shape. He'll bring out a map and know how to read it, and he's Garrett Cole. He'll get anybody to do anything for us, and I'm just there to make a little joke and encourage him. So like I already do. Garrett Cole, I think he would be great.
And what country would you most want to visit with Garrett Cole on this journey?
I would want it to be somewhere with a flat terrain. So so we don't want him injured in the off season when we're doing the Amazing Race. So I'm going to say that we're going to go to let's just say Poland.
I don't know if Poland's flat or not. I'm going to have to Google that one because I have no idea. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Poland has a lot of flat space. Yep.
Okay. Well, speaking of Garrett Cole, if he had a food named after him at Yankee Stadium, what would it be?
It would be the hot and spicy coleslaw.
You had that ready to go. That was quick.
No, this isn't a setup.
If you could go back in time and resurrect any New York Yankee player and put them on this current team, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've always loved me an underdog. One of my former Yankee boyfriends was Mike Pagliarulo, third baseman in the 80s. And he was a both-sided third baseman. And you like the heat, CIARRA? You like a hothead? During his arbitration, he broke a table. So, because he was so mad at the way it was going. Pags was the real deal. I'd bring him back.
He was bringing the WWE to MLB. I like it.
Yes.
All right. So I love me a good murder mystery and a good conspiracy. So there is a conspiracy that Babe Ruth murdered his wife. Do you agree with this conspiracy or not agree with this conspiracy?
I don't agree. I think that if he were to have murdered a dame, it would have been some barmaid in Crown Heights. I don't think
he wasn't drunk.
No, I think he was raised right. He'd honor his wife. So no.
He would just murder some random person.
I'll do that instead.
I like it. All right. If the Yankees were in a boy band, who was the lead singer? Who was the drummer?
Can you say that one more time?
If the Yankees were in a boy band, who would be the lead singer and who would be the drummer?
Okay, so I would say that the lead singer would be Jazz Chisholm, and I think the drummer would be Stanton.
Okay, and who would be their lackey? Who's carrying all of the gear?
Well, I think that's going to have to be the strong man. Well, see, I would have, if I had known the order of these, I would have said Stanton because of his guns. But I'm going to have to go with give it to Volpe. Maybe he'll get crushed underneath it, and they'll solve two things at once.
See, I had the same thought process. Give it to the guy that's stinking up the place. He doesn't deserve to be in the band. Perfect. All right. If the Yankees had to play a game in Crocs, who do you think would own the best, most sparkliest, fuzziest, craziest pair of Crocs?
I'm going to have to go with Jazz again. He's going to get those little things that you buy, the charms to stick in all the holes. The gibbets? Yeah. Okay. He's going to do all of those, and they're going to be, dipped in gold, and yeah, for sure.
All right. Last rapid fire question. If you could do one thing right now to improve this team and guarantee their spot in the playoffs, what would it be?
Fire Aaron Boone.
You hear that? Name that, media? We're firing Aaron Boone. I like it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in for episode 3 of the Clubhouse. This was so much fun. I loved having Lynn here with me because she and I already co-host together on Sundays. So it's just a comfortable familiarity. Oh my God. I really need to take a speech class, guys. But I love it because it's lighthearted, it's fun, it's for the girlies, the gays, it's for everybody. But before we are completely done, Lynn, is there anything that you want to share that you're working on? I know you and Spencer have been doing some special things. Would you like to share that with everybody so that we can follow along?
Yes. So Spencer, some of you might know him from X. Spencer is quite the historian. He's the one that gives CIARRA and me the trivia question of the week every week. And I really have gotten deep into Yankees history myself. And I've been writing on the side that no one knows. I'm doing some writing of my own, which has been a goal of mine about the Yankees, because there's just not enough books published about the Yankees, But we decided to do a show through Pinstripe Chronicles, and it's called Yankees History and Heroes. And so we go, we pick an era, we talk it through, and we shout out a player from that era who's not necessarily so well known to everybody, so that we could give them some roses for something consequential they did in that era. And so we do that live during off days, and there'll be another one coming probably towards the end of September. We have to figure out the next off day that we're both available.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on Pinstripe Chronicles and Upper Deck. They will share the updates for you. History with baseball is always fun to learn because as much as we all know, there's so much more out there. Listen, thank you so much for being here with me, Lynn. I hope to have you back again sometime. And obviously I'll be with you Sunday. So looking forward to that. And to the chat, to everyone watching, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you share. Just show the love. Support is free. Bring in the other girlies. Bring in your besties. This show is for everybody. And as always, I'm open to feedback. I can't improve without the feedback of the people watching. Come back next week for episode 4, where my guest will be Kevin Cruz of NYYU. And as always, go Yankees. Have a good night, guys. Bye, besties.